Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, and if you're wondering why it looks like I've got a flashlight on in the complete dark, that's because I've got essentially that filter on my phone right now because I've been without power for over 24 hours now. But I really wanted to get this video done because I realized I have never made a top 10 or 15 list on the Nintendo DS. I've done the Game Boy Advance, I've done the Game Boy Color and original Game Boy and the 3DS, and I skipped the DS for some reason. It's one of my favorite consoles of all time. I love the dual screen technology. I love the advancements they made from the Game Boy Advance era. I just can't believe I've never done a list on that. So I'm going to be getting that one out of the way today. If you're wondering, how can I help out? I would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe to help me out here. We're getting close to 1,000. I would really like to get over that hump before the end of the month if I can somehow muster that. I've got a big video in the works as well that I'm working on, like a lot of editing, a lot of work on, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you could help me by sharing this video, liking, subscribing, I'd really appreciate that. Let's do some honorable mentions here for the DS. I have to look at my paper here. It might be a little hard to see here, but some of them include like Kirby Canvas Curse and some of the other Kirby games as well. I didn't play a lot of them on the Nintendo DS. There were just so many games out there. I kind of skipped Kirby this generation. So unfortunately, I didn't get there. Same with the Mystery Dungeon games. I know a lot of people rave about them. They're kind of polarizing. They're either like you really love them or you don't like them at all. But I know a lot of people that really liked those. I never played the Professor Layton games or the Ace Attorney games, but I know they're fantastic on there. I didn't have Brain Age on there or Nintendogs. I don't think that one's quite worthy, but they're really fun games. Animal Crossing I really enjoyed. Didn't quite make my list here. It's not nearly my favorite Animal Crossing game. New Leaf is definitely the best one. I think they did a great job with that one, but it didn't quite make my list here. The World Ends With You is a big one that I've never played, even though I have it. Same with 999. Those are fantastic games. Those are ones that didn't quite make my list, either because I haven't played enough of them or any of it at all, or they just weren't as good as these ones on my list. With that out of the way, let's get into top 15, which is going to be Mario Kart DS for my number 15 spot. I really love Mario Kart. I've played every game in the franchise, and Mario Kart DS is fantastic. This was a real showcase of how to put like 3D Mario on the go. They did a phenomenal job here too. A great variety of racers. The tracks are really, really fun, and it's one of the best-selling games on the DS for a reason. People really enjoyed this one, and I really enjoyed it as well. I played the heck out of this one. I got a copy. It wasn't until a lot later. I actually didn't play this until I was like an adult at this point, when I had plenty of other consoles to play. I got this one. I can't remember why or where, but I got it, and I played the crap out of it. It was so much fun, and I kind of wished I had been there during the heyday, because I think it would have been fantastic, especially with like online play being implemented. I can't imagine it was that good on the DS, but I would have liked to try it at the very least. But I had a ton of fun with Mario Kart DS, and so it makes it onto my top 15 here. Number 14 is going to be Mario 64 DS. Now, this is far more than a port. This is a like full remake of the game with better like sprites here for your characters. I guess, I don't know if sprites is the correct character models here. And you have 4 playable characters this time around, which is a really cool idea for a remake for Mario 64. Now you can play as Mario, you put on these caps and you change into the other characters. So you have Wario, Yoshi, and Luigi as well, which is really cool. Like what a novel concept to be changing into these other characters to solve different puzzles. I really liked what they did to implement that, but it also really just like changed the way that Mario 64 felt. I will say that granted, like using the D-pad to move around isn't the best way in a 3D platformer, but I found it pretty doable, honestly. I had a lot of fun with this game. It was the first time I actually ever beat Mario 64 and got all of the stars. I really enjoyed it, and it gave me a newfound like respect for the game, because I always thought the old game was kind of clunky, but it gave me a new perspective on the game. And I really liked the implementations of the new characters and everything. I liked what they did to put it on the DS. It was amazing that it was running on the console in the first place, so I think it deserves its spot on the top 15. Number 13 is going to be Rhythm Heaven. This game is so quirky and weird and really beautiful, honestly. Rhythm games really found their stride on stuff like the Wii and the Nintendo DS. This was the perfect storm for Nintendo to have motion controls and touchscreen controls at the same time. 2 big gimmicks that worked really well for the most part. The touchscreen, I think, worked even better. The Rhythm Heaven game on DS is just really sublime, and it really cemented like its own legacy moving forward, just because of how many people had a DS and how many people played this one. I think it's very akin to like a WarioWare type game. And it's got its own unique style and visual flair and charm. And I think there's nothing quite like it to this day. Again, maybe besides Warriorware, but I think it's got its own niche carved out. And I like the way that they implement the rhythm games and the touchscreen. It just works flawlessly. So it's going to land here on my list. Number 12 is going to be Yoshi's Island DS, which was actually my first DS game. Quick story here. I got a DS, I believe, for Christmas. And my parents didn't understand that you needed DS games. They knew that the Game Boy Advance games worked on the DS, but they didn't realize that I would probably want DS games too. So I didn't have anything to play initially. I just played my Game Boy Advance games on my black DS Lite that I had. And it was fun, but obviously I wanted to play the new stuff. And so my birthday the next month, I ended up getting Yoshi's Island DS. And I had a ton of fun with it. This is one that I kind of took a gamble on because I was like, I loved the original Yoshi's Island on the SNES, and I would like to jump back into it. There were other games I definitely could have asked for, but that one looked like the most appealing to me, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think as a Yoshi game, it's extremely fun. I love the 2D platforming Yoshi games. I like what they did with like turning into the helicopter and all the other little things that you can do. I haven't played it in a long time, so I don't remember every aspect of it, but I remember it being absolutely gorgeous. I loved controlling it. I thought it was a really fun really and it's one I want to go back and play because it's really nostalgic for me, being my very first DS game, and I knew it had to make the list in some capacity, so it's going to be here at number 12. Number 11 is going to be New Super Mario Brothers. This is the best one in the franchise, in my opinion. You could say the Wii one, which I think is very valid as well. Having the multiplayer aspect was really cool, but I think the New Super Mario Brothers on the DS is the best the series ever got. It was just so special. It was something brand new. It was a new formula on how to play 2D Mario games, and it was a great way to revitalize the genre because you had 3D Mario games start to take over. Obviously, you had Mario 64, you had Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, and you had Mario Galaxy on the Wii. I don't know, I think it came out a couple years after New Soup, but 3D Mario was the main thing. We kind of evolved from the 2D Mario space, and so to bring it back on the DS in this way was really cool. And the way that they implemented it with using the second touchscreen to see your progress throughout the map and everything, and the way they implemented new power-ups like the Mega Mushroom and the Mini Mushroom, they just did it excellently. And there's so many secrets to discover in this game, so many fun like boss fights and everything. I really enjoy New Super Mario Brothers for the DS to this day, and I still think it's the best one in the franchise. Number 10 is going to be Pokemon. Take your pick. There are so many Pokemon games on the Nintendo DS. I know a lot of people would say Black and White 2, which I totally get. I kind of fell off the Pokemon wagon on the DS. I won't lie. This is where I stopped playing for quite a while. But most people have told me Black and White 2 are a better version of Black and White. They're a great sequel and everything. But my money is going to go on Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I think these remakes of Generation 2 are fantastic. I have, in fact, played these ones. I really love Generation 2. Totodile is my favorite Pokemon of all time, so shout out to Totodile. Can't wait for ZA. Can't believe he's one of the starters there. So happy about that. But I think that they did an excellent remake. I think most people would consider this the best remake in the franchise, and I probably have to agree here. I think Pokemon's just evergreen for the most part. I think they've gotten a little samey over the years, but they've done enough to like evolve it in terms of like the stuff that they did. But this was a great return to the region, and they did it in such a beautiful way. I liked the little like accompanying things you could get with Heart Gold and Soul Silver as well. I can't remember if they're pedometers or whatever. I thought they were really cute and fun, and I just really liked those the best out of the DS generation. Number 9 is going to be WarioWare Touched. I absolutely adore early WarioWare games. WarioWare incorporated on the Game Boy Advance is still one of my favorite games on the console to this day. I remember my brother got it for me from GameStop for super cheap. He was really nice to buy me a game, and I just absolutely played the crap out of it. I thought it was so much fun. The micro games are so great, and on the DS it works so well. They did a great job of implementing the touch controls throughout the entire thing. I can't remember many of the micro games I didn't really like. I think it was mostly hits across the board. And the way they implemented some of like the boss stages was really smart. They were longer and they had like unique mechanics throughout. I loved like the one that really sticks out to me is plucking the nose hairs. I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. I just think they nailed touchscreen controls with this game. And I think it still stands like really high in the series. I think it's like top 2 in terms of all the entire WarioWare franchise that they've done. I still think WarioWare Touch is right near the top, just under incorporated. Number 8 is going to be Trauma Center, Under the Knife. This game absolutely rules. I never played Trauma Center 2. It might be better, but I played the first one to death, grinding super hard for the S ranks. I tried for everything, like full completion. This game is brutal if you are trying to do that. If you're not familiar with Under the Knife, it's a surgery game. It's like a drama surgery game, and it's perfect. I don't know how else to describe, like they nailed surgery so well. I'm typically really squeamish with blood and stuff like that, but for some reason this game just really scratched the right itch for me. I thought it was so much fun exploring like how to like suture a wound and pulling like glass out of the wound and everything, and I like how they incorporated like these like really crazy diseases and everything, and like the part of the puzzle solving was figuring out some of these diseases that would just like regenerate as you tried to fix them. I thought it was just beautifully done. I like the mechanic of like essentially slowing down time and doing ultra fast sutures and everything, saving patients at the last second. They incorporated the drama and like the actual surgery stuff really well, and it's one of those games that I just feel like we need another game like that. It's just that cool. So that's going to be really high up on my list here. Number 7 is going to be The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. Now, I do think that Spirit Tracks is a great sequel to Phantom Hourglass in a lot of ways. They implemented things a lot better. I think the visuals are a lot cleaner. I don't like the actual using the train on the tracks mechanic nearly as much as I did sailing. That's my biggest gripe with Spirit Tracks, is that the traversal option is just kind of boring. I do like how charming it is. Using a train to like maneuver through the world, I think is interesting, but it's a lot less novel. I guess it's more novel. It's a lot less fun to do overall. But I do think they improved on a lot of things that Phantom Hourglass like kind of pioneered on the DS. I think the touch controls work a little bit better on Spirit Tracks. Excuse me. I think they built upon the original touch controls in a really beautiful way. I think the dungeon designs are spot on in this game, especially late game. They did a really good job of making them feel like really difficult to solve. My story with this one is I accidentally I had something happen and my game glitched, and toward the very end of the game I couldn't progress any further in one of the last dungeons. It might have been the last dungeon, and I never finished it. I had to restart, and I didn't have the gumption to try and go through that game all over again. I still need to go back and do it, but I was so disheartened I couldn't figure out any fix. Maybe I'll be able to find something now. Maybe someone's figured it out, but that was a big demoralizer for me. So maybe that's why it lowers a little bit on my list. But I remember it being a really good improvement in a lot of ways, and in some ways a step back from Phantom Hourglass. So it's going to be up here on my list because it still is sublime. The dungeons are fantastic, but it's not quite as good as Phantom Hourglass in my opinion. Number 6 is going to be Metroid Prime Hunters. I cannot believe they got a Prime game on the Nintendo DS. Of all the accomplishments that they were able to do, like Mario 64 on the DS and stuff like that, I think Prime Hunters stands like head and shoulders above almost everything else because it is really fantastic. They've got a first-person shooter that moves as well as it does on the DS console. I don't think it's nearly as fleshed out as something like Prime 1, 2, or 3 in any way, shape, or form, but the fact that they got this working, and with so many different like hunters that you go against with like really unique characteristics and great personalities. Like, you don't see a lot of personality in Prime games in a lot of ways, but you get to see it here because they're actual bounty hunters, just like Samus is. And I really liked that aspect of the game. It's a little bit hard to navigate sometimes. There's backtracking you have to do. It doesn't always seem clear exactly where you're supposed to go, but this game is a joy to play. I had a blast playing through Hunters, and it's one of those that I feel like more people should go back and play because, again, the fact that it's running on a DS is just really cool. I'd love to see Prime Hunters get a remake for the Switch. I don't know how they would do it, but I think that would be really cool. I'd love to see the entire Prime saga on the Switch at some point. So it's going to be up here on my list. Number 5 is going to be Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. Oh man, do I love this game. Dawn of Sorrow is so good. A phenomenal follow-up to Aria of Sorrow. You've got the same protagonist, you've got the same kind of like skill system that they implemented in that one, and a really high emphasis on the horror aspect of it. I think this one is easily the best out of the DS Castlevania games, though the other ones are really good too. I really loved what Dawn of Sorrow was. I think the graphical upgrades too were just breathtaking. They knew how to do Castlevania really well on the Game Boy Advance, and I think that they improved it even more on the DS. Again, like the graphics, the atmosphere, the horror setting and everything, and going with like a proven formula. I loved the character from Aria of Sorrow. That was still the best one for me to this day, and I love what they did to like improve on that and make it even better with the touch controls and like the touch screen and everything. They did a really fantastic job with this one. If you have not played any of the DS ones, they are included. I think it's the Dominus collection on the Switch. Fact that they got those on the Switch is so cool because DS games running on anything else is crazy. But go out and check it out because it's just that fantastic. I guess it's on other consoles too. Go check it out. I love Dawn of Sorrow especially. Number 4 is going to be Big Brain Academy. I did not expect to put this one so high up on this list, but when I was like going through my list of games that I had, I looked at it and remembered how much I played this game. Big Brain Academy rules. This game absolutely slaps in every respect. It will give you like a score system based on like certain like aspects of like the analytical side, or like I'm struggling to remember all this stuff because it's been so long, but I remember just obsessing over increasing any of these like stats to make my little like pentagrammal like bubble get bigger and like max out all of my points on each thing. It was so much fun, and to memorize and get good at all these games and everything and get really fast at puzzle solving, it like trained my brain for puzzle solving in video games moving forward. It really did a ton to like hone certain aspects of my brain. It was crazy. I love when games like this, called Big Brain Academy, Brain Age, are actually good at like training your brain to do something cool. I had so much fun with this, so much so that I couldn't believe that I had missed that a Big Brain Academy existed on Switch and that I was getting a Switch 2 upgrade. Can't wait to play that one. Still haven't grabbed it yet, but I intend to because I love Big Brain Academy and it absolutely deserves to be a top 5 game on your DS. If you haven't played it, you have a DS, go get a copy and play the heck out of this game. It is so much fun. Number 3 is going to be Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. I love Grand Theft Auto games all the way up to the PlayStation 2 generation. I really enjoyed them. I fell off at 4 because it was originally like a timed exclusive for Xbox 360. I had PlayStation at the time, so I just kind of never played that one. And by the time I did, I was off the Grand Theft Auto wagon. I sailed on to Red Dead Redemption, and I had a blast. I still haven't finished 5. Like, there's a lot to love about Grand Theft Auto, but I think Chinatown Wars is the most underrated in the entire franchise because it is so phenomenal. It is so freaking good. The way that they implement the top-down aspect of it, they nail it in the DS and the PlayStation Portable version. It's even on like iOS as well. They nailed it. It is so playable and so much fun to do. Think of like something like Hotline Miami in terms of like the perspective and how fluid that game is. Chinatown Wars feels a lot like that in so many ways, but with like a giant open map and the ability to just go around and do whatever you want. There are tons of missions. Rockstar nailed the mission aspect of this game, but also like the little things like being a drug dealer and selling things in different spots to like improve how much you're going to make for all of the things that you're selling and making sure you have certain stock. It's just brilliant. Like in every single way. The way that they implemented this is just put together. They put together a perfect Grand Theft Auto game. The fact that it ran on the DS as well as it did, that it was able to run on iPads and phones and the PlayStation Portable, they just executed perfectly. And going back to that top-down perspective was such a smart move. And I think this is just one that everyone should be playing, should play at least one point in their life if you're a Grand Theft Auto fan, because this one is really, really strong. And I love Chinatown Wars, so it's going to be top 3 for me. Number 2 is going to be The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. I alluded to this earlier that I liked it more, that I liked Spirit Tracks, and it's just how novel it was when it came out. I remember getting this game from a used game store and having the time of my life. I think I got it right before like my sister's graduation from college or something. And so, did I play it in the audience there? I don't know if I did. I don't think I was allowed to do that there. But some aspect of time, it was some event that was just really long, or I was on a trip or something, led me to play the heck out of this game. And I had an absolute blast. The fact that this feels so much like Wind Waker, but on the go, is what captured me. I love Wind Waker. It's my favorite 3D Zelda game, even to this day. With Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom out, Wind Waker is still my favorite 3D one. And this just feels so much like Wind Waker in every way. You have a little ship that you can sail the seas and explore very freely, just like Wind Waker did. But you also can customize your ship with different parts. Grinding to get the gold ship was really spectacular. And they crafted some of the best dungeons in the entire series. I said that about Spirit Tracks. Same applies to Phantom Hourglass. The dungeons are phenomenal. And the touchscreen controls, you have to use it to move. You don't use the D-pad at all. Seem like a clunky idea. They were executed phenomenally. It's really good to move around in this game. And like swinging the sword and everything, I really enjoyed it from start to finish. I know a lot of people maybe don't have the same opinion, but I think that they killed it in the controls department, especially for how unique it was. And like the storyline and everything, I love the side characters that you have. Like the main side guy that you are with the entire time is just so charming. He's just as cool as a character as Tetra is, and I just love him in this game. I'm losing his name off the top of my head, but I remember him. I remember how cool he was. I remember the twist toward the end with him. I just love the game. If you haven't played the DS ones and you have access to them, or you have an option to go and buy those, go try them out. If you've passed up on them for any reason, they are top 10 Zelda games, 100%. They could be like top 7, top 8. I love Phantom Hourglass. It really deserves to have a lot more love because it is really, really good. But that leads me to my number 1 pick, which is going to be, that's right, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. Got confident I put my paper away there. This game rules. I absolutely love the Mario and Luigi series. Paper Jam is my only one I really don't like in the entire franchise. I don't think it's super good, but every other game in the franchise is fantastic, including the new Switch one, which is really fun. I don't think it's, again, not as quite as good as the other ones, but Bowser's Inside Story, I think, is where the series hit its actual peak. And I will go as far as to say, I think this might be the best Mario RPG game out there, including Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars and the Thousand Year Door. I do think it's that good because it is a very beefy game. It's got a ton of content, especially if you're going for full completion. But even if you're not, this is like a 30-hour game on a DS. It's crazy how much value you got out of this game. But also it implements like the best things of Partners in Time, which I think is a pretty underrated game in the franchise. But also without falling into a lot of the pitfalls that made the game not nearly as good as Superstar Saga. Bowser's Inside Story, the fact that a lot of it takes place inside Bowser with Mario and Luigi there, is really brilliant. The way that you are traversing his insides, dealing with his synapses and nerves and everything, and fighting bad guys that he inhales and working together with Bowser is just beautifully done. And of course, you've got the hilarious villains. They do villains so well in the Mario and Luigi series, but they really killed it. The writing department and like the delivery of all these things is just so well done. And the gameplay is fantastic. Being able to move from inside Bowser into the real world as Mario and Luigi, getting to play as Bowser himself, it all feels just so fantastic. It is a beefy, wonderful RPG that I just absolutely adore, that I want to go back and play over and over again. I know this got a 3DS like remaster and like an additional content. I never played that one. It did not sell well, but I'd like to get a copy of it and go and play through it again because this game really is that special. Again, I know I've said this a few times now. You haven't played this one, you need to go play it. If you like Mario RPGs, this is, in my opinion, the best one, or very close to the top, if not the best. So that's going to be my top 15 DS games of all time. Again, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it, especially doing this work in the dark and low battery and everything. I don't have a way to charge my phone unless I head over to a friend's house or something. I appreciate the extra help there. Thank you so much for watching here. Let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite DS games are, which ones I missed, which ones I haven't played that I absolutely should play. Let me know. I'd love to check them out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.